Yo, man, we here with the one and only, you know what I'm saying, Serge from Serge Cannabis Co. My bro, thank you for your time today. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. Thank you for having me, EK.
Yeah, no, most definitely,
How you
bro.
doing?
Yo, yeah, bro. I'm telling you, dog, your name has been ringing bells for a long time, bro. You know, with so many different creations, projects, bro. You know, your whole family's in the industry devoted to the plant, bro. So, but for those that don't know too much about Serge, bro, like give us a brief history. You know, let's know a little bit about yourself.
My name is Serge. I go by Serge Cannabis, and real passionate about the plant. I've been, growing since I was 15. I caught a case when I was 15. Went to the halls for felony cultivation, and just since then, just been attached to the hip to the plant, one way or another, growing, hustling. And I was one of the co-founders at Cookies Maywood, one of the co-founders at Fiore, and blessed to have taken part in some industry staple strains that have stuck around for years and stuff. So I'm just blessed to be in the game and doing my thing, man, following
Hell
my
yeah.
passion.
Hell yeah. Bro, how'd you get into growing so young? How did that come about?
Pops would always smoke weed when I was young, and I was like, man, that's not cigarettes that I'm smelling, So I followed him to his little stash spot one day, and found a little stash and pinched the stash, and went back with my homies and lit it up. And I don't know, the plant really did something for me, like growing up. It was like a different era and stuff. Like homies were dipping into all kinds of shit, but I don't know, like the weed did it for me, like I felt like it just like unlocked this fucking keyhole in my brain. And it just, as far as like creativity and just like what it did for me, I just fell in love with the plant. So ended up finding a seed in the sack and saving like the seeds that I found. And one day I was like, all right, let me try to germinate one of these seeds. And I watched it grow, and I was just fascinated that, something I love so much, like it was very simple. You just drop a seed in the soil and nurture it, give it water, give it light. And, you just watch it take off. And I watched different leaf sets come about. And I was like, God damn, dude, this is like, it intrigued me. So I was on the forums reading a bunch, just trying to know and educate myself a lot more about the cultivation process. And, ended up harvesting that plant. And when I was drying it, my dad kind of, caught whiff of it, and he took it. He acted like he was punishing me, but he blessed himself with it because he was a smoker. Yeah, man. Through that, I think, that was my first experience with like growing cannabis, finding a seed in a sack and then putting it in the dirt.
Damn, bro. And then, bro, look, and here we are, bro, years later, dog, and you're taking awards. You know what I'm saying? You like swept the 2021 Zalympix, bro, with the Pomelo Anderson. You got second place for best overall. You got first place, best tasting, and you got first place for best terps, And then, like, bro, like in 2022, you took first place for best looking with the cereal a la mode, bro. So, like, from going from being that 15-year-old pinching sacks, germinating seeds, trying to, what I'm saying, like finding your passion with the plant, bro. How does it feel to go from that transformation all the way to being an award-winning cultivator, bro? With the creations that you took part in. How was that? Was it life-changing, bro? Does it make it feel like like, yo, this was what you were supposed to do from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely surreal, and it is life changing. It's motivational. It recharges your batteries to let you know like you're on the right track in life. A lot of times, doing what we do and you being a part of it, since the plant was like illegal and all of that. Not that we really minded what came with it, but it's like it's stigmatized, right? That like you might be on the wrong path in life, and that was just like reassuring, like, bro, you're right where you need to be when you need to be there. And like sometimes it even felt like what I was taking part in was like bigger than me. I don't know, it felt like there was the mighty hand guiding me. And I don't know, it just seemed surreal, man. It just it's amazing. And I was just talking to my pops about that yesterday. I was like, man, who would have thought, like, you're like whooping my ass at 15 for smoking weed, and like look at what we've created off of the plant. Like, it feeds our family, and it's so many great things have come about it. I've met so many great people
Hell yeah.
because of the plant, traveled the world. It's amazing. I'm blessed.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. You've done some great things, bro. With the Pomelo Anderson, bro. That was a Fiore project, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the
bro.
pomelo cross to the Georgia pie, and really special plant, unique turbs. I honestly like whenever I entered that and I went and got the kit from Green Wolf and I was digging through it, I was like, God damn, I think we have something because it was such a standout,
Yeah, it
compared to
was.
everybody had great weed in that box, bro. I'm telling you, like I before entering it and taking a look, I was like, damn, like do I even have what it takes to be up there with the big dogs? And then when I was cracking them open, I was like, damn, like the Pomelo Anderson's really different.
Yeah.
So I was excited, and the people really fuck with it. So yeah,
Yeah,
man,
no,
we
that
we,
was
we
one of my
almost we
favorite ones.
almost swept that shit. We got second place overall. If we had got that first place, we'd got three first places. We'd have got
Yeah,
the hat
man.
trick.
Yeah, the hat trick, bro. Bro, I'm telling you, I went to Green Wolf. I bought like 5 of those boxes, bro, and I invited maybe like 15 fucking people to the spot, which is why I got so many. And like we did our own judging, bro. I'm telling you that Pomelo stood out like crazy. Like it was just one. Like you're smelling everything at first, and as soon as you crack that, bro, you're just like it's one of the ones that just other ones you smell it and you put it down, you keep going. That one's like you smell and you're like, hold up, bro. Like you take that second, that double take. So
Yeah.
that shit was definitely a standout, bro. That was if you don't mind, bro, if you wanna, I know you were involved with Fiore like heavily, bro, and you guys came up with the Pomelo Anderson and other staples, bro. Do you mind touching up a little bit about your time with Fiore?
Yeah, not at all. So Fiore came about when I was a part of Cookies Maywood. It was a vertically integrated place, but my role over there was cultivation, and that's my specialty. It always has been. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing that, my partners had opened up a lot of other cookies retail stores and other affiliated stores. So I was thinking I'll open up a big cultivation to where I could supply flour like I was at Cookies Maywood for
Hell yeah.
the retail shops and whatnot. And that's how Fiore came about. And we were sitting on like a pretty large stock of genetics between me and my partner, and we did a 14,000 seed pheno hunt. We went through, and yeah, the first I believe like 10 drops of Fiore were all just like pheno hunt, very micro batch drops that we wanted feedback from the consumers and the general public on what they were fucking with, and what profiles that they like more. And that's what we kind of gauged on what strains were going to be invited back to the party, what we're going to ramp up, and all of that. So
Yeah.
it was a great time. And we made some really good strains, Pomelo Anderson being one of them, and did a lot of breeding and pheno hunts for cookies as well
Yeah,
while
I
we were
mean, Gary Payton, I don't want to cut you off, but Gary Payton's another one you did, bro. That one was, bro, just being able to be in this industry and see how certain strains really just have like a massive blow up, like a massive magnifying glass on it. And bro, Gary Payton, without a doubt, was one of those, bro. I know that was you with what I'm saying, with other partners at Maywood, bro. But like, what was that like? Because I feel like that one came about like maybe shortly before Pomelo Anderson, you
yeah.
know, but that one made noise, bro. Can you touch up on that?
Yeah, so Gary Payton and the cereal milk, we did at the same time. Those were bred by Kenny at Powers Up. He has a super super small Bay Area cultivation. If you guys know real estate in the Bay Area, like we're talking like couple light garage grows and shit. So
Yeah.
he took the wildlife and did a cross with that, and that shit was just amazing. We were the first ones to produce it at scale and to debut it to the world, which was, like I didn't think it was going to become what it became, through the right network and partnerships. And, you guys at Doja know about that too. A good network of people just, it's like making music and being in touch with the right
Hmm.
people and getting it out to the masses. So
Hmm.
I think all the stars lined up over there, and man, it just, in America, a lot of things are consumed really fast because,
Yeah.
we're in the tech age, right? Internet's popping. You get an artist to drop a CD, and a month later, we're like, all right, what's next? What's next? I didn't think the Gary Payton and the cereal milk was gonna like, stay a staple like that worldwide for as long as it has. And it's still like doing its thing. So it was an honor to be a part of that. And, all the little offshoots that came after that, the London pound cake and
Yep.
the London Pound Cake collab we did with JBZ, crossed it to the KM11, and did
Yeah,
a
bro.
pheno hunt on that, and found a lot of good keepers, and ran that back to Big Burn, and the berry pies, the Georgia
Yeah, man.
pies, and all the good things that came out of that, and then the evolution kicked off. So yeah, while watching people I looked up to like Jigga and JBZ do their thing, with that collab, and me getting, first dibs at hunting it before the whole world. I was like, all
Yeah,
right,
man.
let's find some shit in here. Let's shake the scene up. So yeah, man, it was an honor to be a part of, something great. And yeah, just
Man,
blessed.
it was an honor to smoke that, bro. I'm talking about like you were responsible for like batches that motherfuckers were fighting over, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember being in Hollywood, bro, and like just like having a select amount of it and everybody blowing us up like, yo, no, bro, I need those blue bags. I need those Garys, bro. Like it was, bro, like seeing motherfuckers like you're selling it at one ticket and then everybody's like, yo, no, I want them all. I'll pay 500 more. The other person, no, I'll pay 500 more. It's like, bro, like you are responsible for some of the fucking dopest batches that we've ever had of cereal milk, bro. Gary Payton, like, but I'm telling you, bro, the Gary Payton, like, I think it was one of the first batches you guys had, bro. It was like literally one of the very first ones, bro. Life changing. It's like one of the. It's like when you smoke something that you just know is a game changer and it makes you appreciate it. You know, the terps on it were just phenomenal, bro. The fuck inhale, exhale, everything about it checked off every single box, bro. So you know what I'm saying? Like you did numbers with that one, bro. And I know right now, bro, like you're always working on the next new thing, bro. And I know you have that new strain Pheromone, which is a cross of your 2022 first place winner, the cereal a la mode, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah. So and thank you for all of that, bro. It's a lot coming from you. I know you got seasoned lungs, and you see your fair share of genetics and bags, and you blow through all kinds of, heavy hitting strains. So thank you and salute to you for, telling me
I
that.
appreciate you.
As far as the pheromone, yeah, that's a cross of the 2022 best looking winner, the cereal a la mode crossed with Syrup. Syrup is a Skittles to Sherb to Skittles BX2, so it's a Skittles back cross, and it's actually the sister of like the cinnamon milk and the pomegranate shake that they're rocking at Cookies right now. Was the last project that I worked on over at Maywood,
Fire.
and I dusted up the cereal a la mode with the Syrup pollen, and yeah, I'm excited about the pheromone. It's really different, it's got layers of depth to that terp, man. I'm telling you, you get like it's like a tres leches, 3-layer cake type situation going on. But yeah, I'm excited about that. That's a possible contender for my entry for the winner's flight of Zalympix. I got a couple of more that we all know it's batch to batch with everything. And like, I'm a perfectionist, man. I'm gonna kind of wait and see, like smoke everything and make sure like, okay, if it's doing its thing for me, then, I'll think, but yeah, the pheromone is a contender for an entry. And, I got this other one, pink pineapple, which is a Blackberry Gary
Ooh.
reversal to the pina colada, and insane terps on that one. And also, I don't think I've put my Blackberry Gary in the mix in any of these competitions, man. So she's she might be the one too. It's Gary Payton to Sherb to Ittles BX2. So I'm excited
That
about
one's
this year's
fire.
Zalympix, the Blackberry Gary.
Yeah, bro. That one I had the pleasure of being able to smoke it. Right, a homie that had it, and bro, that shit smoked fire. That shit was just delicious, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was it was fire. I wanna say maybe it was the homie Burn Man, bro. I can't remember who had it, but bro, like soon as it said Blackberry Gary, I'm like, yo, I saw Serge talk about this shit, bro. You feel me? Like I saw him post it and everything, and bro, super fire, bro. That one could be, bro. Like I haven't tried the pheromone, but that Blackberry Gary definitely would be a big contender for you, bro, in the competition.
Fuck yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's got
bro.
that classic original Z terps like sticking out of it with like a little bit of sweetness from the sherb, and it's got that like very complex gas back end on the exhale. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm excited about what the future holds, man. Just
Hell
constantly
yeah.
breeding and hunting and stuff. It gives us that motivation, to find that one, special thing that we're all looking for.
Yeah.
The pursuit of the dank.
Yeah, facts, bro. I'll say this, bro. Speaking of motivation, bro, one thing that I think is motivating for a lot of up and comers, bro, or even people like me that have been in this game, dog, is just seeing you and your brothers, bro. All three of you guys have carved out one hell of a name individually for each other. You know, like you guys come together on some stuff, bro. But seeing Fidel, seeing Gas No Breaks, and seeing you guys like all the same bloodline, bro, but you guys are just innovating in your own ways, having your own staples, bro. You know, like how does that make you feel, bro? I know that's got to be another motivating feeling, knowing like all your whole family, bro, is devoted to the plant, and or this is how you pay bills, this is how you feed the family.
Yeah, man, man, it's a blessing for real that I get to share my passion, and my brothers are just as passionate about the plant as I am, and every family gathering, with them and my pops too, it's just like it just makes it really special, man. Just to come together and just to crack a jar open and just like be wowed over something. Yeah, man, like every one of us has our individuality and our own creative mindset, but we do work a lot together, and I've heard the saying that blood and money don't mix, or family and business don't mix, but man, we do great together. We
Hell
got a
yeah.
great synergy together, and I'm super blessed to be doing this with my brothers, man.
Yeah, no, but that's a big blessing. I'll tell you that, man. I wish I had the opportunity to do that too. My brother, he ain't even into weed no more. You know, my older brother. I got into weed because of him. Man, he's, saying, I'm proud of him, newborn Christian and everything, bro. I'm proud of him, but like, he don't even look at weed no more, bro. You feel me? So like, I respect you guys for that, man. It's a beautiful thing, bro. And you're right. A lot of people do say that blood and money don't mix, but you guys are definitely proving that fact wrong. You guys are proving that saying very, very wrong, bro. So hats off to that. And with gathering with each other and being able to crack something new, bro, like you guys just went to Lebanon, right? Or you went to Lebanon with Gas No Breaks, bro. Like, what's the scene like out there with weed, bro? Do you guys take anything to crack out there, bro? Or is it like, is it more than a slap on the wrist?
It's more than a slap on the wrist, but you know how we move, EK. Look, man.
Gotta
One
take
day
that
they
shit
might
with you, bro.
give me the chair for this shit, baby. But yeah, we took the bag. We took the bag with us, and they do grow out there. It's not legal, but it's been
Damn.
grown for centuries out there. The hash game is big in the Middle East. Lebanon has been like a staple supplier of hash along with the other countries. But yeah, there's a good amount of production that goes on outdoor over there, and throughout the years, I think the land race has kind of been watered down with,
Mhm.
seeds coming in from Europe and America and whatnot. But they got fields, as far as the eye can see. I was lucky enough to be driving through the Baca Valley, just have some videos that I'll share with you. Both sides, there's like as long as your eye could see, bro, all for hash production. So when I went there, I got into some trouble. Like when I was like 16 years old, I went out there for a couple years to, let things blow over. And when I was out there, I took some seeds and I started growing. And like while I was in the process, I would ask my homeboys over there, like, yo, can you get some tree? They're like, nah, we could get you hash. I was like, well, they got to be making the hash out of weed. Like, why don't you just bring me the flower? They're like, nah, they're not going to do that. They're not, they process it and then they put this out. So I convinced the guy, like, yo, just like sell me the flower, bro. And the first couple of times, like he was like weirded out about it, but like ever since then, I would say it was like early 2000s, 2002-ish, maybe a
Okay.
little earlier. They started like stepping up the production on just like flower, and it started getting more decent and decent. Now we have homeboys out there that like grow some of our genetics. They're into
Damn.
rosin,
Damn.
they get their little care packages in the mail every now and then. So it was cool, man. And every time we travel, we take some of our toys. We take a rig, a bong, a puffco, yeah,
Yeah.
peak and shit, So whenever we touch down, it feels like home, like you're smoking terps that like nobody is in the region. It's a trip.
Yeah.
Whenever
Facts.
I gather around like-minded individuals, homies that love weed, love hash, but haven't had the opportunity to travel abroad, you get to share that with them, bro. It's like it's fucking amazing. It's like showing somebody a food or a fruit for the first time in their life that they've never seen or smelled or
Yeah, fact.
experienced, and they're just like fucking like in awe, bro. Their jaw hits the floor, and then when they're like smoked out, you can tell they're faded as hell. They haven't smoked
Yeah.
something. So it's
Yo,
cool, man.
bro, did you ever have you grabbed any like just land raised strains from out there? I know you say a lot of it's for hash, bro, but like, do you think there's potential of grabbing any of those and fucking like, saying hitting it to some gear here in America?
In all honesty, I would say no. With my experience with all land races except the Afghani selections,
Hmm.
that the Kush selections that have offered like a lot to, modern day like commercial cultivation, it's hard to make something like commercially like make sense to produce it. Not even commercially. Like even if you were to put a couple of lights of it, some of these land races are like, really long flowering times and
Okay.
whatnot. They're a lot airier. So maybe in small batch, for like the heads that would like to like like enjoy it and stuff. Like you could put something small out, but man, I think we're really spoiled in the selective breeding evolution that has gone on for like the past 20 years in California and in America, Europe, but America and California leading the way more so. We get more of like we've bred towards what we want to see and when in everything, right? The from the bag appeal, the denseness, the potency and everything. But it's good like I like in like even if I were to get their like, land race airy sack, I got an ounce of it to roll up for myself. I mix it with the hash. Like it hits you different, bro. Like over here, people won't touch something below like a certain THC percentage. And just
Mm.
by looks, like I didn't test it, but just by the looks, like you could tell this ain't hitting those markers, right? But boy, like that shit faded, bro. Like it hits different, like the different structure of cannabinoids or whatever, the concoction of it, like it just
Yeah,
does it for. Sometimes you don't need that, that haymaker punch, put you on the ass type shit. You need
yeah.
some little mellow to get you right. So yeah, I don't know. I've kind of rambled on into that, but
Nah, nah,
yeah, I don't.
you good, you good. Nah, bro, see, that just shows how much you've adapted, though, bro, from like your 15-year-old self, bro. You feel me? Even living out in Lebanon, bro, and like doing shit out there, like you've adapted to a lot of changes, bro, cultural changes as well as just like the game itself. So, like, nah, you didn't really ramble, bro. Like, you kind of led into my next question, which is like, I want your take on where you think the state of the game is at right now and where you think it might be in the next like 5 years, the 5-year plan for the game. I mean, you have a lot of experience, bro. You're heavily involved with your own marketing, bro, your own creativity, you do your own cultivation, bro. You're handling all these breeding projects and pheno hunts. I'm curious like to see your take on like where we're at right now in this game.
The game is an interesting point right now, with new markets emerging and information flowing a lot easier than it did in the past. Back in the days, recipes and techniques were coveted. They were,
Hmm.
kept close to heart. You had to know somebody to know somebody. But now it's like, oh, that's bro science and this and that. Now there's like a general understanding of how to grow good weed. So it's being commoditized. It's being more accessible. I think the accessibility of it and, the way that it's produced with less pesticides and less harmful stuff is a great thing for anybody that consumes the plant.
Absolutely.
I was young and I smoked a lot, and the reason why I started selling weed is so I could afford to, my own habit, my what that I enjoyed a lot. So now that it's like more accessible and it's being produce abundantly, I think it's a great thing for the consumer and the people that might not have the expendable income to spend on
Yeah.
higher end product. But at the same time, I think it kind of puts it in a category to where it's like it commoditizes it, right? And where I think the life comes back into it is people like you and I and like-minded individuals in our circle that are stewards of the plant, that
Mhm.
they want to push the evolution of the plant forward, and educating the consumer between the difference of like the Bud Lights and the craft beers, and
Yeah,
the
facts.
the organic fruit and the mass produced fruit,
Yeah.
the the bread and select it, and we took time to curate this menu versus, here's the
Correct.
generic menu for everybody, right? So I think both are equally as important, and I think, we got to work in synergy, and I think we as the stewards of the game have something to provide for those like super big companies that are mass producing
Yeah.
the light beer for everybody else. Is like those people don't breed. Those people, they don't know how to select, and
Mhm.
more than likely they're money people, but they're also important to the ecosystem. So as long as we keep putting good things into the machine, they could hopefully have some good genetics to pump out to the masses and stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, I think the good genetics and good weed are spreading throughout the world nowadays. We're traveling a lot more, right? We're going to different
Yeah.
countries and seeing that level, follow us everywhere, right? You go to Spain, you go
Absolutely.
to Barcelona, and the homies are fucking, like sometimes like that their hash game and their strains, they might put the US to shame, you know? And you know, you Amsterdam was like stuck in, their little like, they were leaders of the industry and then they kind of fell back. But now you're seeing a resurgence in that,
Yeah,
and throughout
brother.
the world, there's good weed everywhere. It makes me happy. You could touch down and get some good weed. So I think we all got to do our part and, try to come together whenever we see like there's a lot of bullshit going on, like
I agree with
over
you.
taxation, over regulation. We're spending an arm and a leg on packaging that just, it's bad for the environment, bro. It's
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
it costs so much for us as the producer, and it's just like the user just, you'll crack the jar, you roll up your joint, and boom, you throw away the packaging. It's just,
Yeah.
and we don't want it to be like a packaging based, community.
Market.
So
Yeah.
we wanna educate the consumer and also like level everybody up. At first, we might have thought, you know, distill it was the shit. Now, we got rosin pens and
Yeah.
all that. It's good to see the game evolving and smart minds coming in and contributing to the ecosystem. So
I'll say this, bro. You're not lying. That's probably one of the better answers, man. I'll say that because although they're spread out, right? You got folks with the money that are mass producing shit, bro. They're allowing people that don't have extensive income to grab shit, but then you have the folks, you know what I'm saying, within our circle, like you said, that are devoting their energy, their time, and their focus to like the new shit. Like we know, bro, in the future, genetic IP is gonna be everything, and that's what's gonna help these dudes with big money. They're gonna want to buy this IP. They're gonna want to be able to have it to mass produce, so that way they, like you said, they have some fire to be able to mass produce and get it out to the average person who can't fucking spend, that top dollar on an eighth, a quarter, or an ounce, whatever it is. You feel me? So I do feel like working together is a big factor for that, bro. And I feel like people don't think of it that way. I feel like people just kind of think the game is gonna take a turn and then shit's gonna skyrocket, bro. But I feel like they're low-key neglecting that those two things are now together, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that big money shit and like our like 1% to like 2% of weed heads, bro, that really care for this shit. Like they gotta connect at some point, bro. It's up to us to be able to make them have some type of synergy, bro. So I do agree with you on what you said, bro. No, dog, look, hey, I appreciate the interview, bro. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the history, dog. I love being able to learn a little bit more about you, bro. You feel me? I've already had mad respect for you, bro. Appreciation for what you've done, bro. Like shit that you've done in the game for me, bro, is just super historical, bro. I've been happy to be a part of that shit, bro. So congrats, bro, on the Zalympix victories, bro. I wish you another one this November at the winners flight. And bro, I'm gonna probably just tap in at your booth and ask you about that pheromone, bro.
my brother, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to seeing you, putting a few in the air, and all the good energy and the good vibes out there. So
Hell yes, Serge. I appreciate you, big bro. God bless you, man. I'm glad you made it back safe from Lebanon. And bro, we'll be talking soon. Good luck this November.
thank you, brother. God bless.